Hello everybody, it's your boy the Cowduck, and welcome back to Alternate Presidential Histories, second place timeline. Today we have the 1792 presidential election, as long as what happened in this term of whoever wins the presidency. This time I have the vice presidents on. For George Clinton, his nominee is Thomas Jefferson, and for John Adams, his nominee is Rufus King. I know back then they had the whole second place as vice president thing, but we're changing it this timeline. We're changing it. Just imagine that happened nowadays. Hillary Clinton was Donald Trump's VP. There'd be a lot of butting heads. Those two would be either butting heads or be lovey-dovey. Who knows? But let's get on. Let's make the chart leans. There we go. Let's go. I think Georgia would be safe. You know, these like the more southern you get, Kentucky would be safe. North Carolina, South Carolina, these would be safe states for Democratic Republicans. It was the Green South, as I'm going to start calling it back in colonial America. Virginia would be likely. I thought I hit chart lanes. What the hell? Maryland, I would put that as tilt. Delaware would be tilt pink. Man, that's weird saying tilt green, tilt pink, and all that. It's weird, ain't it? Of course, this is I don't think John Adams would be very popular, especially after signing the Sedition and Aliens Act so early into America's time. Like, even earlier than real life, which hurt him bad, but, you know, not that bad considering, you know, George Washington already established a bunch of stuff. But it would hurt him even more because, you know, people literally just fought a war for their rights less than 2 decades ago, and now they're having their rights taken away. People are not going to be happy about that. Absolutely not. Pennsylvania, I think, would be lean. New York would be safe. George Clinton was very popular governor. If you were elected a governor at this point, there's a high chance you were very popular. Very high chance. Vermont, New Hampshire, safe. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, these are safe. New Jersey would be likely. This would be the final map, 84 to 48. Now, if we take away the slave vote, while Adams would most likely win in states like Maryland, he'd probably take Maryland by a lean margin and Pennsylvania by a tilt margin. But that's about it. I don't think that would have given him the presidency, actually. But anyway, yeah, that would have given him presidency if the slave vote was not there. Virginia and North Carolina would be closer. Virginia would be lean green, and North Carolina would be likely green. In my opinion, the northern states really didn't. I think New York would still be safe for Clinton. I don't think there weren't that many slaves up in the north. I could be wrong though. Please tell me if I'm wrong, famous historians or just historians in general. I don't know why I said that. But there you go. There's the electoral map. Now we're going to take a look. John Adams lost his re-election, the first president to do so. And this sets a precedent that, yeah, you might be the first president, but that's the power. People still have the power to kick you out of office. Just because you're the first president doesn't mean jack. So let's get over to what George Clinton does in his first term. We are now going to be taking a look at George Clinton's first term. Now, for those of you wondering if this man is related to Bill or Hillary, or Bill in any way, I don't know. I do know he's related to DeWitt Clinton, mayor of New York. Now, I've done so much research and I can't find anything. If you can find something, please tell me. If George is related to Bill in any way, George and Bill Clinton are related to each other, please tell me in the comments below. I think that is something that is very interesting, that we had a Clinton from New York, Hillary from New York, DeWitt from New York. I don't know. And you might say, but Bill was from Arkansas. Well, some of my ancestors were from Missouri and Illinois, so that'll tell you something. And that's not a joke either. But let's take a look at what happens during his first term. In 1793, the Fugitive Slave Act is, passed in Congress, but it was of course vetoed by President Clinton. George Clinton had the same stance as Thomas Jefferson did. He had slaves, but he was not, very open about saying slavery should still, be a thing. President Clinton would veto this Fugitive Slave Act, so slaves who run away from the South and the North would stay in the North, and, Southerners couldn't get their slaves back, and many northern African Americans would not be wrongfully put into slavery. So that's something that, we already changed the timeline right there. Clinton, treats blacks good in this timeline. The Neutrality Proclamation is still signed, so the war that's happening between France and Britain, Clinton's like, yeah, we're not dealing with that. We got our own stuff to deal with. It's now 1794. From July to November, the Whiskey Rebellion still occurs, and of course the Militia Acts are passed from under George Clinton. The militia of 12,500 men have to go in and quell the rebellion. 1795, Naturalization Act of 1795 is passed. I don't know much about this one. I just know it has something to do with Americans having to be in America for 2 to 5 years to be actual, Americans. But of course, and also the 11th Amendment is passed. People cannot sue the government. Pretty much is what that states. President Clinton submits the Jay Treaty to Congress, and it is passed, of course, which means there is to avert war with Britain. The Treaty of Greenville and the Treaty of Madrid are also signed. Not much change so far from George Clinton's first term and George Washington's second term. 1796, George Clinton still admits Tennessee as a 16th state. Not really George Clinton himself, but you know what I mean. And also the Treaty of Tripoli is signed, which makes voyage for American cargo ships safer. So there's that. And that's all. When we go into these timelines longer and longer, when America is actually, recognized as a country by other countries, then we'll get into that. When we get into, the Civil War and all that, there'll be more. Don't worry. There'll be more of that nonsense. Anyway, guys, this is the Caddick One saying peace.